So for the last one, we're gonna do French braids. I like to do French braids on the last day I can go without washing. It's looking crazy, it's looking frizzy. There's nothing else I can do with it. But it's always better to go one more day without washing if you can. So take your section again, kind of same with the buns. You can do it down the middle if you want. It's more centered that way, but I like mine a little off-centered. So take my sections, and then I'm just gonna kind of show you because I can't really talk and do it at the same time, but I'll do my best. So I'm gonna take this very front, it's almost like a triangle section. See, kind of that very front part. And if you have bangs, you want to start with just the bang section and do a little braid with the bangs. Also, side note, if this gets in your way, if your hair is too short and your hair is kind of flipping over your shoulder, you want to just kind of put this in a ponytail and keep it isolated. So take a section here. I like to take 2 fingers and separate it right away into 3 sections. And I like to go underneath, and that's the Dutch braid, where the braid kind of sits on the top instead of getting tucked in. I think more people are used to the other way, so I'm going to try to do it that way. So you go over, there you have your 2 sections, you go over to the middle, and then pull tight. Over to the middle, pull tight. You can do it a couple times with this first one. And then take your finger, take a tiny part of the stuff that's hanging down, collect it with that stuff that's in your finger, and then you take this outside part first, sorry, and then this inside. And then I'm going to take my finger up here, take a little section of the stuff that's up there, and bring it to the inside. Start cutting there. And then bring it to the inside. Another section from the outside. So basically you just keep taking small amounts of hair from what's hanging down and bringing it to the middle of the 3 sections. So you're just tucking. Basically, you're just doing a lot of tucking. For some people, it's really hard to look in the mirror and do it at the same time because it kind of messes you up, feeling like you're going forward and then, you know, moving too much. So it helps sometimes to not look in the mirror, but whatever works for you. Get to the last one, just make sure you're grabbing all of the little baby hairs back there and tuck it. And then once you get down here, you just kind of start to braid normally. Oop, we lost one. So if you lose a big chunk of hair or something, you just kind of go back up to where you started, you brush it out. Do your best to find your sections. Found them pretty easy right there. And then grab that piece that was missing and then tuck it in. Even if you have no idea what you're doing, just experiment, keep going, get all the way down, and eventually you'll kind of get it down. Even if you're like, oh, this looks awful. Just kind of keep doing those motions and eventually you'll get it down and you'll be able to do it pretty quickly. I can probably get mine done in about 5-10 minutes, less maybe. Once you get down here, that's the easy part. And then just pull the very edges out. And you can do this with literally any braid and it makes it bigger, it makes it fuller. This is good if you have straight hair and your braid, and if you have straight or finer hair, your braids are really thin. This gives them some volume and you just pull out these edges really lightly, just kind of tug at them and it gives you a bigger braid. And then you kind of go and do the other side. Now you have a nice big braid. I like to pin it or tie it off before I work up here. And you want to be careful with pulling apart up there because you can start to pull out layers. But you can just kind of separate it a little bit. Pull it out a little more, all the way down. So that's one side. And I think just because of the way that I am, I'm gonna pull this guy out. I don't know why, I just really like face framing pieces. I like the messy look. Okay, so other side. Just kind of finger comb through it a little bit. Really the same thing as the other side. Take a triangle section, use 2 fingers to kind of separate 3 sections. You want to make sure they're even and that you have about the same amount of hair. If one is feeling not as thick as the other sections, just take a little bit of hair and just move it around until you have 3 even sections, because that is going to give you an even braid. Oops, I'm doing the French braid. I guess I can show how to do the French braid too. We're modifying. Intermediate. So for the Dutch braid, for the Dutch braid, you tuck under. Did I say Dutch braid? I don't know if I said Dutch braid or French braid, but this is the Dutch braid. So you go under, keep taking your little sections, putting them under. You can also, if you like, I think the sporty look is to go straight back, so you can also keep pulling straight back, but it's easier to see if you're more close to your hairline. Keep your fingers close to your scalp as well, because that's going to keep the braid tighter. If it gets loose while you're doing it, it's going to be really hard to control. So as you can see already, the braid is sitting on the outside, which just gives it more volume. I just think it's more fun. And you can do the same thing with this one. Once you get all the way to the end, you can start to pull little pieces out. I like to start at the bottom so you don't start pulling, you know, the ends out. You can have a little more control. Just pull. Good try. And then you're pretty much done. So those are 2 ways to do a French braid. You can modify them kind of however you want. Like I said, you can make them go back further. You can do something in between, doesn't matter. You could braid halfway, do a pigtail for the rest. You could braid it, and then you could even do, that's my little tutorial. If you guys have any questions, let me know. I'm here to answer any questions. Feel free to email me. Yeah, thanks.